So let's move on to the next question, guys. In this question, we are given that there is a person or some name, I don't remember, who travels from his home to the work destination at X miles per hour, right? And similarly, when he comes back from work to home, he travels at Y miles per hour. His average speed for the entire trip is 60 miles per hour. So his average speed when he goes and he comes back for the entire trip is 60 miles per hour. So we have to compare X and 30, right? Okay. So let's assume that the distance between the home and the workplace is D. So let's assume that the distance is D. I hope this should be fine. So the distance is D, right? So when the person goes from home to work, right? So what will be the time taken? Time is what? Distance upon speed, right? So when he is going to the work, so when he is going from home to work, the distance will be how much? D. And what is the speed? When he is going from home to work, the speed is X. So the speed is X. I hope this should be fine, right? Similarly, when he's coming back from the work to home, then how much time will he take? The time will again be distance upon speed. So the distance will be D. Distance remains the same, obviously, right? So distance will be D, right? And what is the speed when he's coming from work to home? The speed is Y. So the speed is Y. So this is the time taken from while going from home to work, and this is the time taken while coming from work to home, right? I hope this should be pretty chill. So what is the total time? The total time will be D upon X plus D upon Y, right? So we have found out one thing, that total time is how much? Total time is equals to D upon X plus D upon Y. I hope this should be pretty good, right? Okay. Now tell me one thing. It is also given that the average speed for the entire trip is 60, right? So what does entire trip mean? Entire trip means going from home to work and coming back from work to home. So in that case, how much is the total distance? In that case, the total distance is 2D, right? So for round trip, the total distance is how much? Total distance is equals to 2D, right? And what is the average speed given for the total trip? It is 60. So speed is given to be how much? Average speed is given to be 60, right? So total time will be how much for the entire trip? It will be 2D upon 60. I hope this makes sense, right? So the total time in that case will be how much? 2D upon 60. So total time will be how much? 2D upon 60. I hope this is also pretty clear, right? I hope this is making sense to you, right? Now tell me one thing. Obviously, in both the cases, the total time will be the same, right? Because the person is one, the trip is one. So obviously, the total time is same in both the cases, which means d upon x plus d upon y is equals to 2d upon 60. I hope this makes sense. So we can cancel d. This will cancel. So this becomes 1 upon x plus 1 upon y is equals to 1 upon 30. I hope this makes sense, right? That means 1 upon x plus 1 upon y is 1 upon 30. And we have to find the relationship between x and 30, right? Okay. Now tell me one thing. If this term 1 upon y wouldn't be there, if this was absent, then what would x be? Then x would be 30, right? If this term was absent, then x would be 30, right? Because if this term was absent, This is what 1 upon y. If this term is not there, that means 1 upon x equals to 1 upon 30. So x equals to 30, right? If this term is not there. But this term is, we know it is there, right? And we also know that y is positive, because what is y? Y is speed, and speed can never be negative practically. So that means this term is positive. I hope it makes sense, right? That means this term is less than 1 by 30. It means 1 upon x is less than 1 upon 30. Because if we are adding two things and if we are getting 1 upon 30, that means obviously 1 upon x will be less than 1 upon 30, because this term is positive. So if you're adding something positive and if you're getting something, so obviously this term will be less than 1 upon 30. Makes sense, right? Okay. So now if you take the reciprocal, so whenever you take a reciprocal in inequality, the sign gets reversed. For example, let me give you a hint. 1 upon 2 and 1 upon 3. We know 1 upon 2 is greater than 1 upon 3, right? Because 1 upon 2 is how much? 0.5, and 1 upon 3 is 0.33. So obviously 0.5 is greater than 0.33. So 1 upon 2 is greater than 1 upon 3. But now if we take the reciprocal, so this becomes 2, this becomes 3, but 3 is greater than 2. So the sign gets reversed, right? I hope you know all these basics. So whenever we take the reciprocal now, so this will become x, this sign will reverse. So this will become greater and this will become 30. So that means x is greater than 30. So this value is greater than 30. So the answer we have is A. I hope this makes sense, because x is greater than 30. So this part is greater than this. So the answer is A. I hope this is clear.